Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, I'm gonna be doing a story time kind of video. This one's a little embarrassing. Not because of I don't know, you'll see at the end. But yeah, so I asked you guys on Instagram and Snapchat what kind of video you'd want to see for my Friday video. I took a poll. You can do this poll thing on Instagram now that you used to only be able to do on Twitter. And the majority of you guys said story time videos. So I'm going to be giving you guys a story time video about the first time that I had sex ever. So if any of you guys are young or don't want to hear about this, it's TMI, then you can just exit out of this video right now and go find another one. I'm sure there's something else that can pique your interest. But if you don't want to hear about my first time having sex, then click out of this video now. That's your forewarning. It's not going to be graphic or anything, trust me. But yeah, it's basically just a funny story that is kind of embarrassing and I feel is a lot of people can probably relate to. So let's get into it. So I was 20 years old when I had sex for the first time, which to a lot of people is kind of later, but some people may be early. I don't know. It's kind of late in my opinion. I had other boyfriends, but I never was just comfortable enough with myself and comfortable enough with them to really go all the way, you know what I mean? Sex is kind of, I don't want to sound preachy, but sex is kind of a big deal. You don't want to have sex with someone until you're really ready to, until you're comfortable with not only yourself but the person you're with. I feel you have to truly be comfortable with your body before you can be comfortable with anybody else seeing it in that kind of way. So as I said before in other videos, I didn't have the best self-esteem growing up, so I really didn't want anybody to see me like that. So I lost my virginity when I was 20 years old, actually to Henrik, which is kind of funny. So I just kind of want to get that out of the way. Yeah, I was 20 years old, it was to Henrik, and here we go. By the way, my eczema is flaring because the weather keeps going from cold to warm, so that's just eczema, ignore it. So me and Henrik had been talking for about 2 months. As you guys know, we met online, actually on POF. He wasn't comfortable with me kind of saying how we met for the longest time. Even in my recent Q&A video, he didn't really want me to tell you guys how we met, but whatever. It's not a big deal to me. Everything's online these days, everybody needs online. So we met online and you know, we talked on the phone, we Skyped, we got to know each other for a good month. And then after that month, I was like, you know what, it's time, let's meet up, whatever. So we met up. That's a whole nother story time if you guys want to know that story time. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to hear about the first time we met. But we met up and we hit it off. Everything was great. And then at the time he lived in Long Island. So he would have to take trains from Long Island to where I live in Connecticut. And it was a freaking hike. It was a hike. So every time we wanted to hang out, I didn't have a car at the time. I got my first car when I was 20, but I didn't get it till November of, what was it, 2013. So we met in July. So anyways, I didn't have a car at the time. He didn't have a car at the time. So he was taking trains to come see me. I would beg friends to drive me down there to go see him, or beg my mom to let me take her car for the weekend, which she rarely ever did because who the hell wants to be without a car for a weekend? But anyways, so he was coming up from Long Island. This was about his third time coming from Long Island. So we were about 2.5 months into our relationship, and my parents had met him already and everything, and they were comfortable with him sleeping over, but he had to stay on the couch, so he wasn't allowed in my room. It was only about the third time that he had stayed over at my house, because all the other times we kind of hung out, but he didn't really sleep over, or I would go to his house, his apartment, to sleep over there. But this time he was here, and for some reason I thought that it was the perfect time to do it at my house with everybody home, my parents and my brother. Obviously they were sleeping, but for some odd reason I was like, this is the perfect time. Let me not wait till we go to his apartment where nobody is. Let's just do it here. So bad judgment call on my end, but we ended up watching a movie. I'm in my head at this point too, because he didn't know I was a virgin. That kind of never came up, and so I never said it. He didn't know I was a virgin, so I was kind of nervous on top of that, because I'm like, oh my god, he doesn't know, this is gonna be so awkward. And also, I recommend you guys telling your partner if you're a virgin, because that would have made it a lot less stressful for me if he would have known. Anyways, so we're sitting on the couch, and I'm in my head, I'm like, holy shit, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna let it happen. It's great. It's gonna be fine. Yes, it's great. So we're watching a movie, and you know, we start hooking up, we start kissing. Everybody's already asleep at this point. Like my brother, my parents are already asleep in their rooms, and we're on the other side of the house, like in the family room. So I'm like, okay, let's get into this. And if you guys know anything about me, you already know that I have anxiety and like I have panic. Like I get really, really nervous. I work myself up and into like panic attacks. And so I start panicking. I'm like, oh my God, like what happens? Like what's gonna happen? Like it's like that fear of like the unknown. Like I had no idea what was gonna happen. He's like, are you okay? Because this is all going on like internally. He's like, are you okay? Like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like everything's fine. Like no big deal. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So things start heating up. We start going for it, like whatever. And we're on a couch. And at that point we had like two like oversized love seats as couches in my family room, and they're like the really, really squishy kind. So you know those it almost is like they're filled with down filling. So like the cushions are really like, you sink in. So I'm like laying on the couch, we're laying on the couch, and I'm like sinking in, but like my pelvis is pointed down because we're sinking in, you know? And so he's having a hard time like putting it in. And so at that point I'm like, holy shit, there's something wrong with my vagina. Like what the hell's going on? Something's wrong with me. Like, oh my God, in my head. And he's like struggling too, and he's like, what the fuck? He can't figure out why. He's nervous, obviously, because he really likes me, and he's like having a hard time putting it in. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, do you want me to lift my, like, do whatever? Like, lift my legs, spread it open? Like, I didn't know what to do. And, I feel like this is such an awkward conversation. I really hope my mom's not watching this video, but knowing her, she probably is. But anyways, so I'm like on the couch, like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, you can't get it in. He's like, no, relax, relax, relax. I'm like, okay, I'm relaxing. He's like, I got this. And then he had to like we had to move positions, and he ended up putting it in, and we're fine. It only, in my head the whole time, I'm in my head the entire time, like, oh, this is not so bad. Like, this is okay. We're okay. This is great. Like, whatever. It only lasted like a few minutes. So it's done, and I'm like, oh, that was great. Like, nothing to be worried about. Everything was fine. So obviously we had used condoms. So I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do with these condoms? Like, we have to throw them away, but we can't put them in the garbage can. Like anywhere, because I don't want anyone to see them. It's disgusting. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna put them in a grocery bag, like, you know, those grocery bags you get if you go to Stop and Shop or something, the plastic ones. I'm like, we're gonna wrap it in paper towel, we're gonna put it in a grocery bag, tie it up, and just throw it in the garbage. No one will ever know. It's gonna be fine. So that's what we did. And then the next day, so then we went to sleep and everything was fine. The next day, he ends up having to leave because he has to go back to work. So I drop him off at the train station, everything's fine, he gets on the train. I'm driving home, and I get home, and my mom's like, Gabriella, I need to talk to you about something. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God, did she hear? Like, we were being quiet on purpose. Like, I'm like, did she hear something? Does she, like, what? Does she just have, like, a mother's intuition? Does she know? Like, what the fuck? So I get in the house, and she's like, so the dogs got in the garbage can, and you're disgusting. How dare you have sex in my house? She like found my fucking dog, blew up my spot. My dog Charlie, he's such a little bad boy, like, and especially at that time 4 years ago, he was like young and spry, and he was like getting in the garbage and chewing people's shoes and whatever. So he got in the fucking garbage can, ripped open the bag, and the condoms were in the laundry room of all places. Like, so he brought them from the garbage can in the bathroom to the laundry room. And they were like, and he like ripped the bag open, and there they were on the freaking laundry room floor. So my mom woke up that morning, walked into the laundry room to get whatever she was getting, clothes or something, and they were on the freaking floor. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. My face turned bright red. I was just like, sorry. Like, I didn't know what to say. And she was just livid. She was so pissed. She's like, how dare you do this in my house? You're so disrespectful. Da, 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 da. And I never heard the end of it, literally till this day. She like still tells me all the shit. She's like, I don't want you guys having sex in this house. Like, typical mom, right? But yeah, that was my story of the first time that I had sex, and my mom finding out, and the dog blowing up my spot. But I hope you guys don't have sex until you're actually ready. You know, there's no shame in waiting until you're ready, or waiting until you find that right person. I waited, like I said, I had boyfriends in the past, and I just was not ready. I just didn't want to do any of that with them. So there's no shame in waiting until you find the right person or you're comfortable with yourself, just so you guys are well aware of that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little embarrassing. I'm like a little awkward right now. I'm like, oh my God, I just told them the nitty gritty of my first time having sex. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want any more story times, leave them in the comments down below, as well as if you want to hear about how me and Henrik first met, how that happened, and what went down that time. But yeah, I hope you guys are all having an amazing day, an amazing week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.